Yeah. Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney is going down in November in Saudi Arabia. And WBO title strap on the line. Brian Norman just coming off a crazy knockout win against Jen Sasaki recently. And you got Devin Haney. He's coming off a win versus Jose Ramirez, which is he gave a lackluster performance. We already know about that. But the fight is locked in. Turkey announced it. Ring Magazine announced the fight. It's lit. What y'all thinking about the fight, man? Is the fight is on?
Well, I have been following this. We've been on it since the very beginning.
Absolutely.
I too am intrigued with this fight. If this fight actually does manifest, and I know what Turkey says, although we know Turkey says a lot of things that simply aren't true. But if this fight does manifest, then I will definitely give Devin Haney 100% credit for even taking it, because I am one who believes he won't fight a damn name on that list. But I can be proven wrong. Just like last night, I thought that Tevin Farmer would have put up a better fight. I was wrong then. So it really doesn't, it doesn't bother me. I'm excited if this fight does manifest, because it is a good fight for both of these young men's career and a good name on both of their resumes. So yeah, man, glove up and let's get it.
Absolutely. What you thinking, Bean?
Wow. Well, kind of alluding to what Miss Jab Queen said, and reflecting on what you and her talk about a lot. Um, Definitely, it's like I want to see it. I hope that it can get made officially. Um, so even for it to be kind of in the atmosphere at this level, I'm crossing my fingers that it's gonna happen. It's a great contrast of two different styles. Uh, Now, if it does happen, what weight class is it supposed to be at?
147. The Brian Norman, he's defending that WBO strap for this fight.
No, it is 147. Okay,
So
I was just
Devin
making
Haney
sure.
ain't no catch weight on this. He
Right,
at
I'm about to say no catch
147
weight.
now. He got to
Okay,
fight with the big dogs up there. And the thing
okay.
about Devin Haney, this is his first fight there. And Brian Norman, he's already filled into the weight. You know what I mean? So that's
Mm-hmm.
a big thing to think about pertaining to this fight for sure. And I mean,
Oh, okay.
one thing I could say as far as this fight, of course, we had the whole situation with Bill Haney and Brian Norman Sr. going back and forth on podcasts throughout this whole week and stuff. And I know if y'all watch my channel, I got videos up talking about this whole situation and everything in depth and everything. But one thing that was key that I noticed that Brian Norman Sr. said the other day was he said that the fight he said that
Hmm.
they don't have that the Haneys don't have no choice but to fight them now due to the fact that
Bless you.
Bill Haney was talking all that shit and especially getting personal talking about Brian Norman Sr.'s mom, because Brian Norman Sr.'s mom has stage 4 breast cancer. And we broke that down and we talked about that in layers too,
Yeah,
where I was
I know
like,
we talked about that.
yo, my mom passed away from breast cancer, so you going below the belt like that. I'm totally with Brian Norman Sr. on that note. So Brian Norman Sr. said that they didn't talk themselves into this fight, and that's the only fight that they wanted, and they pushing for that fight, and they push and got this fight done. The Haneys, I give them credit. They get credit for taking this fight on because a lot of people thought they was not going to take the fight. And of course, I had a show the other day saying that they never wanted to fight. I don't think they never wanted to fight still. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they talk
If
they
this
way
gonna
they
happen
talk
and
they
it gets
they
locked
talk
in,
yeah,
it's
like
like this makes up for the fact that he didn't run it back with Ryan Garcia. This will make it up
absolutely.
because this
Absolutely.
is
Not in my
you know
opinion.
styles make fights. So I don't feel like that. I feel like for Haney to want to do that, okay, you know what I mean. Y'all got some balls about yourself right now because Brian Norman, Haney to me will want to fight certain people, want to fight certain styles that they feel like they can pick apart a certain person. It like
Right.
it suits their style. Just like Keyshawn Davis is, I think he's a talent, but I think it's like Frank Martin said about him. they set him up fighting people to make him look good with a certain style of opponents. So you want to see a person fight people that you feel like gonna give them an issue, like Zapata. Now that's a fight you want to see Shakur fight because you want to see somebody you feel like is going to take him to a different dimension.
Right, right.
And I
I mean,
think
I say
Brian
far as the
Norman would
Ryan shit,
Jr.
like I still want that Ryan fight. I don't
Oh, I
care
still want it. I
what
ain't
they
saying
call.
I
They
ain't saying watch
still
it
gotta
away.
solve that problem. They still
Oh,
gotta solve that Ryan problem still.
yeah, I wasn't
But
saying that. Let this
this
fight
we
be
may
that.
I'm
I want them
I'm gonna
both to
say this
happen
though.
still.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say this though, cuz like with this fight right here, if Brian Norman goes in there and he destroys Devin Haney, as you know, a lot of us, pretty much possibly feel about that fight, as far as Brian Norman destroying Devin Haney in this fight, we won't probably see no Ryan. I mean, we won't see no Ryan Garcia Devin Haney rematch probably. Like we probably won't see it. Like, because I don't think Devin Haney's gonna last to get to a Ryan and Garcia fight in this fight with Brian Norman Jr. In my opinion, you know what I mean. But this fight, he gets the credit for taking this fight for sure. But we're not gonna act like they didn't try to get away from the fight because it was exposed that they was trying to get out the fight. And Brian Norman Sr., all of that shit, all of the content that I dropped for us, that all of that shit still stands. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that they talked themselves into this fight, and the fight is going down now. And I'm happy that the fight is going down, and we're gonna get a great ass fight in this fight right here. What you got on this, sis?
I'm steady running my mouth and a dead one thing on mute. Lord help me. Um,
You
no,
good?
yeah. I definitely still feel that Ryan fight is a fight that needs to take place because it doesn't matter who else you fought. You have to prove to me that the only reason Ryan beat you is because he was on quote unquote Oscaring.
Right.
I don't want to hear nothing else about that. That fight still needs to happen. It should have been the very next fight after both of y'all came off that long ass layoff, but whatever.
For
Right.
real.
As far as this fight with Brian Norman Jr. and Devin, absolutely. This fight, I mean, it'll be great for both of their careers. Now, I don't know who's gonna win, you know what I mean, but this is a really good fight. Um, as far as what you had mentioned earlier, Cam, yeah, he can't back out now because you were already outed for trying to back out. So, you kind of got to stand on it now. I'm pretty sure this is the last thing that Bill wants for Devin. You know what I'm saying? But he kind of got to stand on it. He got to stand on it because I was popping so much ish because, like you said, all the things. And then don't forget Brian Norman Sr. said, and we can fight too. I said, Lord have mercy. Granddaddy's going wild on the undercard. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm here for it. But yeah, I mean, these two, this is a wonderful matchup. This will be Devin's first fight at an actual 147, not 144, 143. And I know people say anything over 140 is 147. Then take your ass up there and campaign at 147. But this will definitely be a really good matchup. I really don't know who's going to win. I mean, I don't know. I would say Devin has better footwork, if I'm not mistaken. But I just don't know, if he's going to be able to use excessive lateral movement for I mean, the boy gas tank is crazy, so that's definitely for sure. This is going to be a good fight. If it manifests and gets to the actual date, it's going to be a good fight.
Well, I want to respond to Miss Jab Queen because she made a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, yeah, he definitely needs to run it back with Ryan Garcia because you hooted and hollered about the fact that you were wrong, y'all was cheated, you had to reverse and had to I don't know, was that a no contest or whatever?
Yeah, no contest.
So now you ain't got, you got a clean record again. So you need to go in there and prove that, like you said, that it was because of Ostarine, extra additives or whatever you want to call it in your system as to why you took this L. And that's the thing about when these guys start crying about being wrongfully. I'm not saying that sometimes it ain't true, but in some cases, it's one of them situations where it's like everything ain't what it seems. Like Daniel Dubois, it wasn't a PED situation, but you saying that using them saying it was a low blow or whatever. So now that Dubois and them is calling you a cheat, They have to go in there and prove in this rematch in a few weeks that hey, you gotta beat your man now, because if you lose Dubois, you're gonna look so bad now that you and your trainer Don Charles running around here talking about Usyk is a cheat. He can only win because he cried that it was a low blow when it wasn't. You got something to prove.
Yeah, I like this guy right here. He said, "What if Devin beat Norman? Is he the A side to Ryan Garcia?" No, he wouldn't be, because of the fact
He's
they value Ryan more
I'm
than
about to
Devin.
say he's never going to be the A side over Ryan Garcia ever. They see Ryan
Yeah,
as a bigger star. And Ryan is a company man. Y'all have to understand something. Sometimes these fighters, I mean, it's good to be your own boss in certain situations, but since DHP is not exactly tied to any promotional company, they're not financially really invested in him. So they don't really give a damn whether he wins or loses.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I do hope this fight definitely make it to the finish line. I mean, for us, Devin Haney, this is the thing. Devin Haney is going to have to, really be on his demon time for as being on his defense, but he's going to have to engage in the fight with Brian Norman Jr., man. So I mean, it makes up for a real interesting fight for real. What will be Devin Haney's game plan to win this fight with Brian Norman Jr.? You know what I mean?
To what you just said, bro, I kind of wanted to just like maybe pose
Go
a
ahead,
question. You said that Devin has to absolutely be on demon time. What I don't know if I've ever seen Devin really on demon time. You know what I'm saying?
man.
He's a really good boxer. Don't get me wrong. I don't see that dog in him. And I know people say, oh, he kept getting up. I mean, what the hell else he gonna do? Just lay there? I mean, he kept getting up because that's just what I mean. Kind of like almost like a reflex. You fall down, you get up. You fall down, you get up. But I don't know if I've ever really seen the dog come out of Devin. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. I mean, this before like this guy right here, Brian Norman. He's bigger. He's stronger.
I
He
don't know
is
if he's
athletic. He
bigger.
got
I
great
don't know if
foot.
he's bigger. I don't know
Like,
if he's bigger. Devin is a big boy,
yeah,
yo.
he a big boy, but he ain't filled out in that 147-pound division yet, though, sis.
I don't know if he stops maybe like draining himself. He might, because the higher he goes up in the weight, the less he has to cut, right?
Yeah, yeah, but that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know what type of cutting that man be doing. We know that man be walking around big and heavy in weight for sure. But I mean, in that Ramirez fight, I would say he definitely looked a little bit small
He
compared
did
in
kind of
that
look
fight for
small in that
sure.
fight. He
I
did.
mean,
You're
which it
right.
kind
He
of
did.
led a lot of fans to believe like, how would Devin body fill out and look at 147? Yeah, he's as the corner said. I think Devin has hand speed and boxing IQ over Brian, but nothing else. That's interesting right there. Yeah, I think that Devin's experience in big fights is going to play a factor in this for sure. I would say.
I like I said, yo, I honestly I don't know who's gonna win, but I'll say this: this will only be Devin's second time going up against somebody his height, his weight, his size, his dimensions. Devin's career was built off of fighting smaller, older men, so it is going to be interesting how he fares at the 147-pound division. Those guys up there, they punching, bro. They just your height, if like you said, bigger. You know what I mean? And you can have ring IQ. What if they can cut the ring off? You know what I'm saying? You can use your lateral movement. You have good foot movement, but all of that, paired with somebody else that may have just as good, if not superior, and they punching. What are you going to do? Devin is in between a rock and a hard place, and I am curious to see how Bill is going to maneuver his career moving forward.
Right. And I'm just looking at the performances, like with Brian Norman, his last two performances, no, last three. You know what I'm saying? He's got better each performance. And you look at Devin's last two performances, it hasn't looked good. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's believing that Devin's gonna be a true underdog in this fight.
Well, here's my 2 cents, man. And y'all both say some great stuff, man. I'll be sitting back like, whoa, y'all be expanding my mind. Um, so what Miss Jab Queen was saying about Devin showing that he had the dog in him, And I always looked at it like this, and I don't want to feel like I'm going all. I don't want to feel like I'm going all over the place. So hopefully y'all understand what I'm trying to say. But it's like I don't know how to call the fight, but I'm just saying, just like to put it in a different scenarios. Say it's a situation to where Devin it does come up short or whatever. It ain't how you lose. I mean, it ain't that you lose all the time. It's how you lose. So,
Absolutely.
or either spectrum, whether it be on Norman's behalf or Haneys. But I'm saying that to say, like, let's go back in time when I was, I grew up in the '90s area of boxing. So it's like, even though Holyfield lost against Riddick Bowe, he had so much respect in that loss, man. It was almost like a victory because people were like, oh, Holyfield got the heart of a lion, though. He got hit with that uppercut. And just when you thought he was going to get knocked to the canvas, somehow he musters up the energy. He fights back. Kind of like even Adrian Broner, even though, we could say different things about him or whatever. But when he fought McDonough, even though he lost, there was a lot of parts of that fight that he got back up and was digging in a little bit. You know what I mean? So I want to know if Haney got that. You know what I mean? Like, if he do get knocked down, is he gonna get back up and is it gonna wire him up? You know what I mean? I just wonder, man.
Yeah. Let's respond to my boy Devontae F. He said, if Devin wins, would y'all apologize to Bill? Why would he need an apology for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't got no reason to apologize to Bill. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They get their congratulations and, they keep it pushing from there. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's if they win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I do give Devin credit for them taking this fight because it looked for real this past week that they wasn't gonna take this fight for real. It really looked like
Um,
that. But they, like I said, they forced their hand to make this fight happen, man. Because Bill was popping his shit, talking about he looking for the Normans and all of this shit, and then B Norm Senior, of course, he always on the the YouTube airways for sure, and he right there popping his shit back and forth with him throughout the last several days, and that man. It's still the fact that man, Bill Haney, he was on that phone call with Tay Jones saying that didn't want to fight Brian Norman. They said that fighting Brian Norman Jr. would fuck up their brand, and that they was trying to fight Shakur Stevenson, which I don't even know why because Shakur's at 135. So like, you know what I mean? So it was just nasty work, and to see that was still in play. But Brian Norman, like he said, Brian Norman said that for sure they talked their way into this fight and they gonna have to fight, and now we have the fight now. Yeah, my boy BJ Jason said Norman got that Georgia strength. Yeah, man, he got that real down south strength, man, for real, man. That shit different. It's different for sure. It's definitely different. So okay, so we can go ahead and get into speaking of Ryan Garcia, man.